You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 182.1, our daily update on high school, college, and professional sports news in Central Indiana, with a bit of major national sports news, anything that may be of interest to Central Indiana sports fans.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Thank you so much for being patient with me. Today is February 20th, 2025. It's a Thursday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from Madison Grant High School. Producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. I've been saying for a few days, maybe even a few weeks now, that we're going to be back on schedule really soon, and we are. I thought it was going to be today. It will be tomorrow. I had to reschedule everything because I don't want to make everybody else sick. So now I'm going to have a ton of stuff coming up this weekend. Girls basketball, boys basketball, wrestling, swimming, Hanson Crafton's fight report. We're going to have Will Rutherford's 5 questions that need answers. We're going to have a couple other guests, including Michelle Garman, and I think we will have some major announcements on our future plans coming up very soon, maybe as early as tomorrow. Either way, you can count on our daily update pretty much every single day from the beginning of August to the end of June. I will be taking most of July off to prep for the next season. But of course, we can't wait for the boys basketball tournament, the coup de grace in Indiana, and cannot wait for spring sports. That was my favorite time of year as an athlete. There were no high school sports on Wednesday, and Thursday is pretty quiet as well before a very busy weekend. We will get to all of that, but first, please go subscribe to our YouTube page, even if you're already following us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff there, including videos, and we'd kind of like to try to, and in our future plans, we will have much of our content exclusively on YouTube. Thanks for considering that. All right, Anderson won its 3rd consecutive men's college basketball Heartland Conference Championship with a 96-64 blowout of Bluffton at O.C. Lewis on Wednesday evening. The Ravens have also achieved back-to-back 20-win seasons and are going to be the number 1 seed in next week's conference tournament. They'll be seeking their 3rd straight conference tournament championship as well, starting Saturday against 8-seed Manchester at 3 o'clock in Anderson. As long as they win, they will be playing all of their games at home. The final 2 rounds are Friday, February 28th and Saturday, March 1st. In Wednesday's win, Anderson outscored Bluffton 35-14 over the final 14 minutes of the first half and led by as much as 83-47 with 6:53 left after a Kenny Troutman 3-pointer. 6 different Ravens scored at least 11 points, including 19 from Rob Davidson off the bench. Anderson got 50 points off its bench in total. Nolan Swan from Tipton had 12, and Bryce Williams from Fishers had 11 in reserve. Davidson also led the Ravens with 13 rebounds and 3 steals in 25 minutes. Tay Devagno had 16 points and 12 rebounds to lead the Anderson starters. Troutman finished with 14, and Marco Beverly had 10. Indiana Wesleyan won its 4th straight game, 104-85 at Goshen, and is now 19-8 overall, 9-8 in the Crossroads. The Wildcats topped triple digits for the 5th time this season, shooting 53%, 58% in the first half. They also had 66 points in the paint, 30 bench points, and 23 assists. Sophomore Cademan Bontrager scored 32 points, only 1 shy off his career high. He also had 11 rebounds and 3 assists. Griffin Kluwer finished with 19 points, and Isaac Andrews from Selma had 14 off the bench. Taylor suffered a 92-84 overtime loss to Huntington North in its final home game of the season. The 13 and 14 Trojans led 77-74 before Drew Goodline hit a three at the regulation buzzer to send the game into overtime. Lane Sparks then scored 8 of his game-high 32 points in the extra session to give the Foresters the victory. Chaz Harvey led Taylor with 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. Taylor is at 10th ranked Bethel on Saturday before the conference tournament begins on Tuesday. In women's college basketball, Purdue got within 56-53 of Minnesota in the fourth quarter before the Gophers closed on a 21-5 run. The 9 and 17 Boilermakers were led by Sophie Swanson's 18 points. Ball State's women lost their first MAC contest of the year, 70-66 at Toledo. It was close throughout before the Rockets took control early in the fourth quarter. The Cardinals did make a run to get within 2 points on Allie Becky's three with 18 seconds left, but Toledo hit key free throws down the stretch, including a couple by Jeffersonville grad Nan Garcia, who I had the privilege of covering in high school. So I just wanted to mention that. Toledo's now 10-3 in the MAC and just 2 games behind Ball State. Alex Richard had a game-high 33 points for the 20-6 Cardinals. Indiana Wesleyan is 26-1 after blowing past Goshen 86-53. The second-ranked Wildcats trailed 19-18 after one quarter before outscoring Goshen 25-9 in the second and 24-15 in the third. Almost half of Indiana Wesleyan's points came off of their bench. Carmel's Ellie Kelleher scored 16 points, and Central Catholic's Tori Thompson finished with 14. Anderson is 12-12 after a 63-57 win over Bluffton. Izzy Davis led the Ravens with 20 points, and Taylor is 6-23 after a 107-66 loss against Huntington. Kendall Wayne led Taylor with 13 points, with 6 rebounds, and with 3 assists. Pendleton's Whitney Warfel scored 13 points and had 4 assists for the 6-21 Trojans. IU's women's swim team is in second place in the Big Ten Championships in Columbus after day one, trailing only Michigan by just 20 points after 2 relay finals Wednesday evening. On Thursday, the champions will be determined in the 500 freestyle, the 200 IM, the 50 free, and the 200 free relay. The Missouri Valley Men's Championships continue Thursday with the 500 free, 200 IM, 50 free, and 400 medley relay finals at 6 in Oxford, Ohio. By the way, that's Ball State is in that one. Forgot to mention that. Coming up on Thursday, we have one boys basketball game. Anderson Prep going for its 16th win of the season. A reminder, their program record was 6 before this year. They host 5-12 Randolph Southern, what should be a really good Thursday night game. And the qualification round, it gets underway in boys swimming in the local sectionals at Carmel, Hamilton, Southeastern, and Jay County, and regionally at New Pal, Warsaw, and West Lafayette. Also on Thursday, the 30-23 Indiana Pacers wobbled a bit into the All-Star game, but they start the quote-unquote second half of the season as one of the NBA's hottest teams. They are 14-5 in 2025, and 4th in the Eastern Conference, trailing only league-leading Cleveland, defending world champion Boston, and the New York Knicks. Memphis seems to be a world championship contender this year. The Grizzlies are 36-18, trailing only Oklahoma City in the East. All right, I'm about to say a word that I have a really hard time with. So, similarly to the Pacers, Memphis had a strong run early in January, but lost 2 of its final 3 games heading into the break. The game is scheduled for 7 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. 18 of the Pacers' final 29 regular season games are at home. The Mad Ants also start their second half Thursday. They are at home at 12:30 at Gainbridge against the Maine Celtics. The Ants are 13-7 and second in the East, a half game behind league-leading Capital City. The Celtics are 13-9 and 6th in the East. In women's college basketball on Thursday, IU has a big one. The Hoosiers host Ohio State. The Buckeyes are still on the fringe of the Big Ten race. They are 11-3 in the league, 2.5 games behind league leading USC, which doesn't look like it's going to lose two more. So IU is 16-9 overall and could really use the win. In college baseball, 2-1 Ball State starts a 3-day, 4-game series at Sacramento State. Ball State volleyball is 9-4 and is at 3-6 Lindenwood on Thursday. And USA Women's Soccer starts its group stage of the She Believes Cup against Columbia at 8 o'clock in Houston. That game can be seen on TBS or the Peacock app. The tournament continues Sunday against Australia and Wednesday against Japan. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. Hey, thanks for listening. Please consider telling a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. We truly appreciate you being here. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.